Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, this is the Business And Banter Podcast, where we talk a lot about business, a little bit of banter, something not. And occasionally we just talk absolute rubbish. But we do hope that we can add some value to you if you are listening today. My name is Hanley. I'm a car part reseller from Scotland. And Sam is a clothing seller from the middle of nowhere in Australia. We also just want to say, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say Hanley's considering selling clothing.
I maybe should. We also just want to say thank you for everyone who's been watching and listening and subscribing. And we've hit a little milestone with our podcast this week. We got accepted into the eBay partner program. So not the eBay, the YouTube. Oh, I've got eBay on the mind. The YouTube partner program. So we really appreciate your support and listening. So thank you very much.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
Why do you have eBay on the brain so much, Hanley?
I don't know if people are aware, but eBay in the UK is burning. We're like, it's just, I don't even know what to say anymore. For those that don't know, in the UK, we had a new platform come up called Vinted, which offered people the opportunity to sell their clothes with no fees. What would happen is the buyer would pay a fee and the postage. And this platform is extremely, extremely popular, especially with the younger generation. They've now, previously you were only allowed to sell on there if you were selling your own things, but they then launched a pro program for resellers to be allowed to use the platform. And obviously because there's no fees and all the buyers are on there now, everyone selling clothes in the UK are moving over to Vinted off of eBay. eBay, as they do, like to just mess everything up, and they then went and offered all private sellers no fees to sell clothing, and a couple of months later they said private sellers can now sell anything for free on eBay, any category. It's just a free for all. You and your nan sell all your stuff on eBay for free, which is frustrating because eBay doesn't take action against businesses who are on private accounts. So it means us businesses are now competing against people who could sell the same stuff for no fees. And then just to add a little insult to injury, because, you know, they like to rub it in and really mess it up while they're at it, they've now offered all business sellers who sell clothing no fees either. So just to summarize, no one in the UK other than me are paying fees. Like
I'm sure Arwen is. Shoes aren't closed.
Well, shoes, yes. So they will be as well. But basically, no one really knows what's going on. It's a bit of like a tug and pull between this Vinted and eBay. And every morning we wake up, there's some kind of new hurricane on the way. Also, just want to say to everyone in America who was in the path of the storm and the hurricane, I hope everyone's all right. I saw some videos and that looked really, really hectic. And like, I hope you guys are okay. That was crazy. So yes. So today I'm to be a bit honest, I'm bitter over it. I really am. I'm trying hard not to be, but I am. I feel very hard done by it in the fact that eBay now has me competing with private sellers of car parts who are paying no fees. Dragged us into a battle that had nothing to do with us. Like, they were arguing about clothes. You can't even sell car parts on Vinted. So I don't understand why the other categories had to get dragged into it. Like, if you were arguing about the clothing market, stick to clothing. Why you got to drag everyone else into it? And so now my business is up against private sellers who don't pay fees. eBay also doesn't really take action against people who use private accounts to operate businesses. In the UK, there's consumer protection laws and distance selling regulations that state businesses have certain responsibilities that private accounts don't. So a lot of people try to sell on private accounts when they're businesses to avoid that. I, for instance, have a competitor on eBay who has over 30,000 listings on a private account.
What? How is that allowed?
No, eBay just, I don't know, they just can't seem to be bothered with it. So my frustration has come in with, I don't even know where to start, where my frustrations are. But right now, the reselling world in the UK is just, honestly, it's like a pinata. Everyone's just banging at it, and eventually it's going to go pop, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Well,
But yes,
you could sell car parts on Whatnot. That was the flavor before Vinted.
you can't actually sell car parts and whatnot.
Why
I
not?
checked.
Oh,
I
of
checked.
course you did. Who knows to be a customer for car
Um,
parts and Whatnot?
I know. So it's just this week I've had to reflect a lot on having more of a grateful spirit as well, because I've been through a lot this year. We've had a lot thrown at us. I've had to overcome a lot financially with my business and everything. And I just like this opportunity to be able to sell for 3 months with no fees would have really meant a lot to me and my business. And it's an opportunity I would have grabbed with both hands. Like if I had free fees for 3 months, which they've now given business sellers of clothing, like you would not be able to drag me out of my business. I would literally work every day for 30 days, for the 90 days, list as much as I can, make as much money as I can. And unfortunately, this opportunity is wasted by a lot of people. There's people who have now had free fees for almost a week and they haven't listed anything. And it just enrages me so much, because why would you have this opportunity and not use it? And then some of us didn't get the opportunity at all. But I also want to add to that. I've built a beautiful business and I've built a profitable business on the basis that I pay fees, right? No fees is a nice to have, but I've still built an incredible business. Would I like to be 15% more profitable? Yes, I would. But it's not the end of my business. It's not the end of the road. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing. I think it's hard to not be a little bit better over it.
Of course. Just to provide the listeners with some context, when you say you've had a hard year, it's worth mentioning that you decided at the start of the year that you would be the queen of all of eBay, and you were quoted as saying that you were going to create generational wealth so that someone in the future could be an addict and waste it all many generations down the line. So Hanley doubled down and did all that she could, and then she was putting all this money away to be able to have her husband join her business, which is amazing. And then they were faced with a situation where it was either move or buy the house, and most people don't have the money. Like, I've been in that position 3 years ago and I had to move because I didn't have the money to be able to do that. So while it's left you in a position now where it's difficult because you had to take that money out, you still could do the thing that most people can't do. It's a very privileged thing.
I know. And that's what I was saying about learning to be more grateful in life, because I also still have our health. My family is healthy. We now do own a house. Well, not really. It's still mortgaged. But you know what? I have security in where I live, which is something I didn't have 4 months ago. 4 months ago on a random Friday, I got a letter in the mail that the house is being sold and we have to move. So you know what? That I know that won't happen again. And yes, I've had to go back to zero. But like you said, the fact that I was able to do it in the first place is pretty remarkable, and that's a testament to the opportunity that reselling provides us, isn't it?
Yes.
Like how much of an opportunity in life this is. Because if I was working in a normal 9 to 5 and that opportunity came up, like other than trying to get extra hours, there's no chance you're going to go to your boss and say, I need a £40,000 raise because I need to buy a house or I have to move. So I am trying to be a lot more grateful and just remember the good things. But it's hard.
Oh yeah, I'm bitter and I live in a different country and we don't have that.
It's so hard. Like, just yeah.
I would like to reflect something back to you. So, what's your average sale price at the moment? Do you know off the top of your head?
32.60 something, I think.
All right, let's just go $30 because it's easy. So the amount.
I want proper math, not fake numbers.
Well, I can't do it without a calculator with very indescript numbers. Anyway, 15% is $4.50 a sale. Let's say you do 10 sales a day. That's $45. So then if it's 20 sales a day, it's $90. And then if it's 30 sales a day, it's $135, right? That you're losing out on with
Yeah.
the fees not being rolled over to you. So I don't know what your profit per item is, but I'm assuming it's more than $4.50. So if you simply were just to increase your listing goal by 3 per day, even though you're paying the fees, you would still allow yourself the ability to have that essentially fee-free money based on the maths.
Yes, but it makes me angry that I have to do more to make the same money.
Yeah, but in 3 months' time, you'll still be making the same amount of money and it won't go away.
That's interesting because I don't think eBay is going to go back on this. I think eBay in the UK, they're trying to make the new norm that buyers pay fees. I don't
But
know, and we don't know, but I think eBay is very much in a phase of we don't really know what to do, so we're just going to copy what's obviously working, and they're looking at Vinted because it is working and thinking, oh, that's what people want.
I get that, but a couple times eBay have done this in the US and in Australia where they gave sellers free fees on shoes and on watches, I believe, to try and eat up the market share for those two categories. So really, they went back to fees in those categories once they got some of the market share back because people are habitual. It doesn't really matter where the item is, they just want the item. So if you've provided them with a good service over on eBay, then that's where they'll go back to. And while it may seem like it's more incentive to be over on a different platform at the moment because there's lots of customers, it's because there's not like 25 years worth of listings clogging everything up. Eventually the market will get flooded and then the sell-through will continue to decline because so when Poshmark came to Australia, they spent a lot on an advertising budget in the beginning and everyone jumped over there and the customers were there in the beginning and then slowly over time the customers disappeared. And it's because after, like, when stores open, like actual brick and mortar stores open, there's usually a line out the door in the beginning and then the novelty wears off and you just kind of go back to doing what you always did unless you're reminded to keep going back there. So when Poshmark ran out of its marketing budget, everyone kind of forgot it was there.
I think Vinted is different in that they were extremely clever at targeting the younger generations, and
Hmm.
they are only just building their habits. To them,
True.
a lot of them, Vinted is the only place they've ever gone. So I have a
Hmm.
14-year-old child who now, for the first time ever, is buying clothes on Vinted. Before, she would just go onto the actual store website and buy it. So they are extremely clever in that I don't see them fading away because of how they approached it. They grab the unutilized market, and that is bleeding into families where my daughter's shopping on Vinted. Now I'm shopping for the other kids on Vinted. Now I'm shopping for myself on Vinted, even though I shop on Vinted. Like I do. I don't buy clothes on eBay.
Hanley, my hands
What?
up because you are the cause of everyone shopping on Vinted. You're shopping on Vinted. There's a
But
problem.
Vinted is better than eBay. Can I tell you something?
Oh, here we go.
Like, but no, let me tell you something. As a buyer experience when
Mm.
buying, all right, Vinted, the algorithm, like I don't even type into Vinted search anymore what I want to buy. It knows me so well, and the algorithm is so good that when I open my
Mm.
Vinted app, it's literally just showing me stuff I want. Like
That's
Vinted
one.
focuses on impulse buying. It has a for you page that just throws things out at you. Where on eBay, who goes onto eBay, opens the homepage and just scrolls and see what they like? No, they
Well,
don't.
you
On
can.
eBay, exactly, you can't. On eBay, you go buy something specific. You're intentional with going on eBay. Oftentimes, I would lay in front of the TV and I'll
Mm.
grab my phone. I'll go like, "Oh, I wonder what's on Vinted," and then I just open it and see what's on my page, and you end up buying stuff. And Vinted is better than eBay in that perspective. Vinted have tapped into like the TikTok, the Instagram
Mm.
real way of selling clothes, where we're scrolling and we're seeing, and that, oh, you might like this, you might like that, you might like, and it's so user friendly, so user friendly. To list an item on Vinted takes honestly 40 seconds. No
Oh, wow.
item specifics, nothing. right? The literal usage of Vinted. There's people who now get free feeds on eBay and they still won't go list on it, because why must I fill in 20 item specifics when I can get the same price on Vinted and it sells quicker?
Yeah. So Depop's
Vinted,
very similar.
yeah,
Depop has like no items. Well, there is a couple item specifics. I think there's like 4, which is like size, color, brand, and male or female. But their homepage feed is very similar. Like it learns what you're after, and
yes,
then it is able to just populate new listings in that category based on shares and stuff like that.
yeah.
So in that sense, it's great for the customer, but also Depop targets a younger market as well, and it's kind of successful. But I will reflect back to you that, and this is something that people, I guess, kind of miss or don't think about. The younger generations are actually the smallest generations in terms of just population of people available, existent. Yes, they are all of the IT iPad generation, which means that they're naturally more targeted to being online. But like the baby boomers who are now currently retiring and the generation then behind them are the ones that are the largest of all generations. So if you are targeting those demographics, there is literally just more people to purchase your product than there are of the younger generation.
But if you're building a brand new business, do you want to target the generation that's dying out, even though they're the largest, or the generation which in every single year will just increase in numbers? Because the truth is, the generation of people who were brought up with eBay, raised on eBay, have eBay habits, those are the ones who are within the next 3, 4, 5
Yeah.
decades will all be dead. And the new generation, but they will. And the new generation that is now coming up, even though in numbers they're currently the smallest, they will increase in numbers every single year. You will see Vinted usage, if they do this right, go up every single year, where eBay's will decline. I'm talking about clothing, as that generation fades out. It's the truth. And
No, I
maybe
know, I
people don't
know, I
see
know.
this, but it's true. If your target audience is currently only aging, you have a problem.
So for my age group, for the year that I was born, middle age is actually 36 because our life expectancy is only 72.
Mine too. So that means I'm middle
We're
aged
middle
right now.
aged. I know. I realized I told Laura the good news in the car the other day. I was like, hey, we're middle aged.
I
Congrats.
don't think that's the good news that Jesus was talking about. Like, I don't feel like that was it. But I just like eBay made zero attempt to bring in the new generation. And the truth is, they're hanging all their bags on the older generation, which in the next couple of decades are aging out.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Uh,
now Vinted is building a business and an empire on the new generation, which, yes, currently holds a smaller market share, but that will increase every single year. Now, let me say this: Vinted for clothing is fab. I love it. I shop on it. It's so much better than eBay. I don't see fake China stuff. I don't see
yeah.
ridiculous nonsense. I see things in my country that in my sizes, in the colors I buy. I love it. Okay. When it comes to other categories like car parts, eBay item specifics are great, because
Mm,
when you're buying a technical item or an electrical item, or a mechanical item, any type of more technical type of
mhm.
things, you want a platform like eBay that gives you all the information, that can
Yeah.
filter by what you need, that can, okay, you don't need 40 item specifics to buy a t-shirt. You don't.
No.
I don't think you do.
I wouldn't know. I've never bought a t-shirt on eBay. I
And
shop.
neither have I. And maybe
Don't.
that's why.
I used to
I
buy books on eBay until the booksellers on eBay started drop shipping them to me from Amazon, and then I worked out that it's
yes.
cheaper to buy them on Amazon than it was on eBay, so I just started shopping on Amazon.
Yeah. I think eBay, and eBay have said it themselves as well. Like, the categories they're focusing on um has never once included pre-loved fashion.
No, it's the bottom of the pecking order.
Yes.
I found out this week that the biggest category on eBay AU is home and gardening.
Oh.
I never would have picked that. That's
I
the
love
most.
that though, because of your weather. It's a lot like South Africa where outdoor living is massive.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty cooked at the moment, actually. I'm
yeah.
pretty sunburned.
But I think eBay, obviously they are running scared. I understand that. I get that they're losing market share. I get that they have a competitor for the first time in freaking ages that's actually making an impact. Okay?
Mhm.
Like an actual impact. I understand that. But why drag everyone else into it? That's the part I don't understand. And then eBay's reasoning is people who sell on a platform are more likely to buy on that platform, which I understand. If you're busy clearing out your entire wardrobe on eBay, and you find some car parts in your garage and you list them too, then they say you are more than, how many car parts do you have in your garage, Sam?
Zero.
Exactly. But they say if you are using the platform as a seller, you're more likely to use it as a buyer, which I just want to now tell you that as someone who has been a professional seller on eBay for 4 years, I buy all my stuff on Amazon. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's their theory. If they can attract more people to sell, in order to attract more people to sell, you want them to be able to sell everything and anything, and I get it. I understand where they're coming from. I just don't feel like the generation that's really on eBay is going to use eBay for this. Like, if my mom is clearing out a garage, she's going to post stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Come pick it
Oh, for
up.
sure. Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? She's not going to bother with item specifics, packing it up, getting it to the post office, returns. Like, she's going to stick it on Facebook Marketplace, or she's going to stick her clothing on Vinted. And you know what? The stuff she doesn't know how to sell, she's going to get my dad to take it to the skip because she can't be bothered with it. And then he's going to lie about it and stick it back in the garage. And that's why the garages are full of stuff. But, like, I don't feel like they really have a grasp of what is going on anymore.
Yeah. So this whole situation kind of, I guess, developed the topic for this week, which was going to be when do you know when to make changes in your business? Because obviously eBay's made this seemingly knee-jerk reaction, and then it's like, what do people do? Do they choose to move over to a different platform, or do they stay on the platform that they were already selling on and having some success on? So I would love to know,
Nothing. Waste the
what
opportunity.
do we
Apparently, that's an option too for some people.
for some people, I mean, the whole concept of reselling is a not finite, like reselling online is not a finite opportunity. It will end, whether it's because AI takes over or brands won't allow you to resell their stuff because legislation gets passed, etc. Because, you know, it is technically a copyright infringement to sell someone else's intellectual property, even though you're the owner of the product at that time. Which is where the legislation allows you to do it because you're the owner of the product. Yeah, so it's a grey area. So I don't see that being forever. So I don't want to be someone that allows just a simple concept of reselling to pass me by. So I would love to know what sort of, I guess, tests you put things through for your business prior to make any sort of changes. If you do, I don't know if you do.
This concept from tech and sports is that I make my business practice everything I want to do before I do it. So, for instance, I wanted to bring my husband into the business. So I made my business pay his salary every month and put it into savings. And the point was, if I could get through the whole year without needing the savings, then my business is ready for him to join. Obviously, personal circumstances, not business circumstances, meant that we had to dip into the savings. But because that would have been his salary anyway, that was our money.
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
But so for instance, we talked in a few episodes back, we were going to list as much as we can, go full out, and I'm doing it. So I'm currently doing 75 a day. I'm not listing 75 a day. I'm doing 75 a day because that is my end goal, 75 a day. But I'm training myself to be able to do 75 a day. Do I miss some days? Yes. So I need to get to the point where, and some days, I mean, like maybe 1 or 2 days a month, like I'm pretty good with it now. But if I can do that to the point where that becomes the new easy, then I know I'm ready to go up. So anything I want to do in my business or change, like I heard Tech talk about this, is practice it in your business first.
That makes total sense, because as much as the physical listing side of things is one thing, when you actually send those items live, people forget about all the other parts that come associated with that. So like you need to have the fundamentals down of just like the actual physical tasks to be able to deal with the increased postage, to deal with the increased customer service, to deal with the increased returns, the chargebacks. Like it doesn't end. Everything doubles when you double your business. It just takes a little bit of time for those things to double, but the bottlenecks will present. So if you have the physical stamina to keep doing the physical part, to then allow your body to do the mental side of things, which is dealing with all the other end stuff. That's a really good way of doing it.
How do you do it? So that if you, how do you test theories or plans when you want to grow your business? Because I love hearing how you do stuff, because it's usually the right way, and then I can just go with that.
Well, given that we're like, I think it's like 70 something days out from the end of the competition, I'm more than happy to tell you, because there's limited that you can kind of do within that time frame. So it's
Oh,
going to
wait,
be
before
what it's
you
going
tell
to
me
be.
that, what's your percentage growth on your 90-day graph at?
On my I can tell you my 30-day graph. I don't know
Okay,
on my
30
90-day
day.
graph.
Give me 30 day.
I'm just going to hit refresh. So the 31 day is 19.7% up.
28.4. Okay,
Oof,
carry on.
that hurts.
Carry on.
I thought I was doing really well. That hurts. I'm not going to lie. So when I want to grow my business, or I want to make decisions on my business, often those concepts come from my imagination. They don't come from reality. So I have to take an imagination concept and make it into reality. And that's very different often, because I can imagine that I want to make a $1 billion worth of sales on eBay. It doesn't mean I'm going to actually be able to do that, because there's simply not a market share available. But so then you take that, and if you don't have data to assign to that in terms of like your processes take X time, and then if you're going to increase your processes, it will take X time, and then be able to put a value to assign to what that imagination and dream is, then you won't be able to actually put the dream, vision, imagination into reality, because it's simply not possible. So I like to put it through that stress test first. But if you don't time your processes, if you don't know how much stock you can actually get because you haven't gone out and actually stress tested that to the greatest abilities, or to have your back in a corner to be able to then go, okay, I need more, or travel interstate, or like whatever you have to do to be able to do that, like you need to be able to, because I can say I want to list 200 a day. I physically do not have enough hours in the day to do that myself. Not going to happen. So I would have to then hire out. And then what does that look like? Then I have to have a HR department. I have to have workers cover, which I don't have, which is my own decision. But within that, if then my worker has an accident and I don't have that insurance, then I'm out of pocket for all their medical expenses, which is extremely expensive. Even though Australia has free healthcare, like it's, when it comes to a business, it's not like that. And my cousin who has a business, his workers cover tripled overnight just for the quarter, because insurance went up in his state by that much. So these are factors that you have to take into consideration when you're putting this dream into the reality. And then on top of that, if you have the foundation of what that goal is and it is achievable, in my opinion, it limits the distractions associated with that. So if I know that dream is obtainable on what I'm doing, then if Poshmark pops up, or if Vinted comes to Australia, or if Whatnot comes to Australia, I don't care, because I know, based on my math, based on what's happening, based on everything that I can do that's achievable within my skill set, within the time allocated in a day, that I can achieve that goal. So it means the distractions are less, which means the discipline is much higher to be able to achieve the goal.
But what if the new thing that comes in has such a massive impact that it changes? the dynamics of what you're doing. So if I keep doing what I'm doing now on eBay with the current things I'm listing and the current traffic and the current everything, I'm going to get to my goal.
Yep.
Boom. Another platform comes in, takes a big chunk of the market share. How do we analyze what impacts us and what doesn't?
Well, I from my own opinion, I don't think that we can have knee-jerk reactions, because
someone should tell eBay that.
Right. So just using the Vinted example, Vinted has been around since 2008. So they've been around for actually quite a long period of time. And I've only heard about it this year in the UK, which is 2024. So the fact that, yes, they've been in operation for that time is fantastic and all those things. But for the most part, based on their quarterly statements, they've run at a loss that whole time. They've been borrowing money to be able to do that or getting equity put into the business. So, and if you look at eBay's profit and loss and stuff like that, they do have a lot of debt, but they're actually able to service the debt and make a profit and stuff like that. Because sometimes it's good in business to have debt to be able to lower taxes, but discuss that with an accountant. So, right. So for me, I'm not so concerned about the shiny new object because people are creatures of habit. And while, yes, you do get that dopamine hit of being able to scroll and those sorts of things, if I want a white t-shirt of any print, I will go to the shiny scroll, whatever. But if I need a specific outfit that's going to be for a wedding that's color themed, I'm not going to go to the platform where I scroll. I'm going to go to the platform where I can type in bridesmaid's dress, or I can type in bridesmaid's dress tube fitted purple size 10. And it's going to populate everything based on the fact that all those item specifics are filled in, because that's what I actually need. It's the same as Whatnot. Like you're going on to Whatnot because you want to buy something. You don't know what you want to buy, and you're buying the experience because the people on Whatnot just show you what they have as inventory.
Interested to do some research on what holds the biggest market share: impulse buying or intentional buying.
Oh, I would for sure say it's impulse purchases.
It has to be. Like,
Sure.
I genuinely think it is. And I agree with you that there are more specific items which you would go to eBay for.
Totally.
I would be interested to know if it's enough.
But if you're in a supermarket, right, and you're at the checkout and there's the impulse purchase of like a chocolate bar, right? Like you buy that and that company makes a tremendous amount of money and that's great. So the cost of a chocolate bar, I don't know what it is over there, but it's like $4 or $5 here, especially for the bigger blocks. And then you're purchasing that on top of your groceries, and the return on investment from that product is much higher. And you went there for the intentional purposes. So you go to eBay for the intentional purposes. They're the customers I want because they're actually going to buy something. I don't want people to maybe decide to purchase my item because it was presented to me and maybe they might check out on it. I want people that are actually searching for my product.
Which is why eBay is such a successful platform in car parts, because you only buy a car part when you need that specific part, which it comes back to my point of that's the perfect place for the item specifics, for eBay, for their search algorithm, when you need specifics, eBay is the place to go. Yes, you can search on Vinted. I don't think it's as specific as eBay because there isn't the item specifics, but you get a general search result, you know. But I don't understand. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this. I think sometimes we don't necessarily have to win at everything to be successful. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it does us good to have tunnel focus. And I think something I've struggled with in my business a lot is knowing when to have that or knowing when to be broad. because you have to identify the right situations for each. And I think this is kind of maybe what's happening a bit with eBay, is they've now for the first time have a genuine, real new competitor. And
Yeah.
for years and years, they've been drilling down to us that pre-loved fashion isn't even one of their big categories they're going on.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden they get challenged in that category, and we're changing everything. All the categories, all that, do you know what I mean? And this just displays to me situations in which maybe sometimes you need to have tunnel vision and maybe sometimes you have to have a broader view. But if you get the two confused, things go very wrong.
There is very few things in life that you can't walk back when you make a mistake. And I feel like this situation, if they do get wrong, they can walk it back. Like they can reintroduce fees, it'd be fine. Like it might annoy some people, but the people that kept listing on the platform will keep listing on the platform, because even if you have cross-listing software, you're still gonna list on the platform because that's where your core business is. Like shoe sellers dealt with it.
Leaving. No, like you're laughing. I don't think people understand how much of an impact Vinted has had, where it's like never before seen. Even when Poshmark came, when Whatnot came, we've never ever seen such a massive exodus out of eBay being core business model for people. And I think eBay is genuinely running a little bit scared, as they should be. But if you've been telling people for years that's not one of your main categories, like,
they're not going to care.
what are we doing?
Correct. Yeah. It's like employees. You need to keep the employees happy to be able to keep the employees. We're just employees of eBay at the end of the day.
Also, fun fact about employees, you know how you said you don't have the workers cover? I also found out I don't have workers cover either, because you know how I keep injuring myself all the time?
I cut myself today.
I know, I don't have it either. I feel something I struggle with in my business as well is I make a plan. It's usually a very great all out do it plan. Not want to do it, Huntley has to do it. She does it. She does it.
Yeah. And then she
I
goes
get
out and then sends me like text messages that are like detached.
oh and then I get bored. Long-term goals bore me, and that's going to be my downfall.
What do you mean
I
by
need small wins all the way through because I get bored. Yes, this year I wanted to do 300,000. I realized just over halfway through the year that I'm actually very close to it and I'm most probably going to make it. And then I get bored.
Wow. I I don't actually know what to do with that.
Oh. Like, I need to find a way to put small wins in it.
Well, that is a small win to your generational wealth. Like,
yeah, but it's taking a long time. I need like little rewards, like I need like
what a house.
oh, that doesn't feel like a reward at all. How come they never told us that buying a house is like not as exciting as like it's hard, it's stressful, it's a lot of paperwork, it costs a lot of money. Your first mortgage payment is a double payment, so not only did you just yank out like £40,000, but here's a bill for double on the first as well, just in case you're not shrewd enough for the month.
And then home insurance and contents
I'm not
insurance.
having fun. I did not enjoy buying a house. I don't enjoy owning a house because now if something goes wrong, it's my responsibility to fix it. Like, no one told me that buying a house was going to be this disappointing.
Well, you could always practice packing boxes full of your clothes to remind yourself of like the fact that you didn't have to do that.
But exactly. So I said to my husband yesterday, we would have been done moving already. We
Oh,
could have just
really?
moved and saved ourselves all of this effort.
And money.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people do actually just rent because of that. The fact
But
that they
then
don't
you're
have
just
to do a
prolonging
payment.
it.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're going to get into, like, I know what we did was the right thing, but I don't feel like it's a joyous celebration.
That's interesting.
I think maybe also because I was already living in the house. So like there was no
Yeah,
handover of
yeah.
keys, there was no moving into something new. Like I was already living in the house, so basically the one day it wasn't mine and the next day it was, but nothing changed. Like I'm already in it.
I feel like Martin maybe should have got you like the fruit basket and like the
Maybe.
congratulations thing and like the bottle of champagne, and maybe that
I
would have.
agree, he's the problem.
He is the problem.
He is the problem.
Don't tell him I
Um,
said that. I don't need a big angry Scotsman after me.
I feel like we're a bit all over the place today, but to be honest with you, my head is just in so many directions with everything that's going on here and just trying to, in my own life as well, just a lot going on. And I feel like I maybe need to like buy a stray jacket and just go sit in a corner. Like,
That's
just,
not what I thought you were going to say.
like, just tie myself up or a weighted blanket, or they make you feel so safe. Like, get a weighted blanket and just go sit in a corner and like let my mind just, okay. Because do you know how many arguments I've had with eBay in my head?
Dude, as we discuss every week, you're a lawyer in your own mind because you like to discuss things and argue the point, and you always have those conversations in your head. I can't imagine how many arguments we've had in your head.
I've actually never argued with you because I just do that on text.
That's true. It's good.
We have it out on text. We've not actually ever argued. Sometimes we get a little pissy with each other, but that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
but we're able to set boundaries. It's very healthy.
We are actually I'm proud of us. We're so healthy. Look at us building
Yeah.
healthy
One
relationships.
time you actually wrote, "It's okay to have boundaries." I was like, yeah.
You told me something you didn't want to do. You said you
Yeah.
went up for it and I didn't want to do it, and I was like, that's okay. You like say your boundary.
Yeah.
I should really apply that to the rest of my life as well.
Yes, you should.
But anyway, weighted blankets. I feel like my mind is, I'm not making good decisions or thinking things through because I'm clouded by this feeling of disappointment and a bit better over what's going on. And I need a moment to.
Okay. Because we actually are going to listen back to these in like 3-5 years' time.
Yeah. Are we?
I would like to know, I don't know, I don't listen back to them now. So probably not in 3 to 5 years' time. But it will be a chronological time frame of your business's development and your life's development that you could choose to look back over. So what are you going to do between now and next week when we actually record at the new time slot, Hanley, which is some 4 hours before this time slot, which you didn't attend today? 3.5. So what would you like to do as an actionable plan? Like, seriously? Because if you don't, you're going to stew in this and you're just going to keep feeling like garbage. I would ship you a weighted blanket because I actually have one and they're very helpful, but it would cost a boatload. Yeah, they actually really are.
The only way to get myself out of this is to be so busy that it no longer matters. To sell so many items that this is irrelevant. To list so many items that it doesn't really matter anymore. Because eventually, at some type of scale, these things tend to become less of a big impact. Okay. When we're looking
Right.
at 15% across 10 items, that could be devastating to a business. If you're looking at 50% across 150 items, that's maybe a bit more absorbable into your business. And I think what I need to learn from this is that obviously my business is still at the stage where these type of things genuinely impact me. So work harder and get out of this phase where you're impacted by these things and things that other people do. Like, why are you not there yet? Why are you still stuck in situations where other people's actions affect you so much?
That's perfect. Because, like, as much as it would annoy me to have the fees wiped for other people. Like, my business is fine with those fees. Like, it's producing enough money that it doesn't really. It would be great, but it wouldn't necessarily change the fundamental course of my life over the next 90 days to have that extra 13% in my bank account. It would be nice, but a lot of people will just increase their living expenses to meet that extra money that they have come in, and that's always a battle for people. So if you can just build a business to have so much money that an extra 13% doesn't matter, while it would be nice, it's not the be and end all. That's the best place to be. So if you just listed 3 more, you would be in the same place.
Sure. There are many resellers that I know who are doing their best, who are struggling because reselling is really the only option they have, but they do have bills to pay and they're trying to grow their business, but it's hard. And there are people who I know who this will make such a difference to their lives and their business to have this 3 months to build the cash to then build that business. Like, this is an incredible opportunity to some people, and I know they're going to make the best of it, and I know they are so deserving of it. And I am genuinely happy for the people that are going to win out of this. And if you're not going to win out of this and you're going to squander this opportunity, then shame on you. Shame on you and your house.
I was about to say this was like a soft, tender moment to end the episode on, and then you just absolutely crushed it. Like, you're never soft and tender.
I don't.
You just were. And then you talked about crushing people's houses.
I said shame on but my beef is not in any way, shape, or form with the people. Like, this is amazing. If I had the opportunity, I would 100% be doing everything I can to utilize it. But we'll have to see what the future holds, and I will get through this as well. I'm saying it like this is some tragedy that happened to me. It's really not. It's just a massive annoyance, to be honest.
Your life hasn't changed at all.
I know this.
It's not like they increased your fees to cover the fees that they're losing. Your life is not impacted. It's the same as it was 3 days ago. I just
carry on as normal, but yeah.
You're choosing to allow it to affect you.
I really am. I really am. I'm choosing to go through it, feeling my emotions, Sam, dealing with things in the moment.
Then you need to go through the 7 stages of grief. And feel free not to share them in the messages to me.
Is there like a skip intro button?
No, and you do tend to recycle back through them. That's just how grief works.
Anyway, I do appreciate everyone sticking around and listening to me be upset with this. I know this wasn't very topic focused and we kind of went all over the place with it, but I think for me, maybe selfishly, sometimes I just need a conversation to get out what I'm thinking and what I'm going through, and like Sam's that person for me, and hopefully you guys listen to this and you learn something from it, or you don't learn anything and you just get to listen to me beef for an hour. But
I do think that maybe people realize that it's the same for all levels. Like, it's hard. Like, no matter how much money you earn, there's still things that happen and they still are hard for you to process.
They really are. I think it's also my personality as well.
You are a justice warrior.
I am. I really am. And I so badly don't want to be, but I really am. And
it's okay. I get it.
Different personalities can still all be successful, I guess. I was trying to be profound, but I'm honestly so annoyed with the situation that I just don't have anything inspiring to say about it.
You just need to separate emotion from business. Business is business.
I will carry on. I think definitely more so than I already was. Need to increase again. Need to keep pushing. Need to build a business that's less vulnerable to these type of situations. And you'll always be vulnerable to outside things, but I think you can build a risk tolerance, which I don't have and I lost because of buying the house and personal circumstances. And I think that's why I'm taking it a lot harder, because I just feel like I've gone to zero so many times this year. Like, this is just the last slap in my face. Like, and eBay doesn't even know who I am. Like, it's not like they set out intentionally to screw over
Mate,
Huntley.
eBay know who you are. They've got your like picture up in head office being like, don't mess with her.
If she calls, send it to the unsolicited advice policy, which they did do. For those
Yeah.
of you who don't know, eBay have a policy called the unsolicited advice policy. And when I was speaking to a rep and giving them my opinion on the recent changes, which I said very nicely, not at all like I said it in here, I was having a genuine conversation with them. She said, I'll send you a link where you can submit some feedback. And that linked open to something that said the eBay unsolicited advice policy. So
I
there
love
you go.
that. Like, honestly, it's like a giant FU.
Savage, honestly. Anything to add to round us out?
No, I just would love for you to take this opportunity to realize that A, your business hasn't changed at all. B, if you do like 1% more per day, or it's probably 10% more based on how much you're going live, 8, you will still end up in net the same position. And then if that becomes your normal, then in 90 days it doesn't change anyway. And therefore long term you would end up in a better position. And that you need to get a weighted blanket.
Really do. I also need to take the washing out of the washing machine that's been there for 3 days. I think I've washed it twice. I've been so angry about this. I've washed the same load of washing 3 times. So there's something actionable. There's something actionable I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna actually dry that load of washing.
Everyone now knows that you're a normal human being.
I really am.
You know
I am
that.
just human. I genuinely, under all of this, I am just a mum of 3 and a wife, and I have a house, and I don't do my washing, and I don't fold it when it comes out the dryer either. I just leave it in baskets until they've worn everything that's in it. And that's just like, sometimes that's just my life. So it is what it is.
We're all human.
That's our downfall, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's actually probably a good thing that you still feel these emotions, because it means that you're not shut off completely. Like, it's not a nice place to be shut off.
Yeah. And on that point, being switched on complicated cucumbers, we hope you have a great week. Grab a weighted blanket and some whale noises and just chill out. Like, life is always going to hit you.
And do your
I don't
laundry.
have anything else to add to that. You're just going to get screwed all the time. I'm sorry. Have a great week, guys.
Bye!